Hey, you guys, so I'm back again with another message from the Lord. And I know I got to record this message because I talked about this message in my coaching call today, which gave confirmation because God had gave me this word last night. Um, God is very detailed, y'all. God is very detailed. He's very specific in certain things that He wants us as children of God to do. And we need to follow those details to a T. We need to cross every I and dot every T. And so when God is very detailed, we need to follow those instructions that He give us, detail by detail. All right. I told you guys before that God got me in the book of Deuteronomy, and in Deuteronomy chapter 12, God talks to the Israelites um, about giving instructions when it comes to worship and when it comes to doing certain things and when it comes to sacrifice and all that other good stuff. God was very, very detailed. So I'm gonna read the book of Deuteronomy chapter 12. I'm gonna start at the fourth verse, and it says, "Do not worship the Lord your God in the way these pagans people worship their God. Rather, you must seek the Lord your God at the place of worship He Himself will choose from among all the tribes, the place where His name will be honored. There you will bring your burnt offerings, your sacrifices, your tithes, your sacred offerings, your offerings to fulfill a vow, your voluntary offerings, and your offerings of the firstborn animals of your herds and flocks. There you and your families will feast in the presence of the Lord your God, and you will rejoice in all you have accomplished because the Lord your God has blessed you. Your patterns of worship will change. Today, all of you are doing as you please because you have not yet arrived at a place of rest. The land the Lord your God is giving you as your special possession. But you will soon cross the Jordan River and live in the land the Lord your God is giving you. When he give you rest from all your enemies and your living safety in the land, you are living safely in the land, you must bring everything I command you, your burnt offerings, your sacrifices, your tithes, your sacred offerings, and your offerings to fulfill a vow, to the designated place of worship, the place the Lord your God chooses for his name to be honored. Y'all, God is very, very detailed in his instruction, and I never read that passage before, where it talks about even the place of worship God will choose for his children, right? So a lot of God's children are in a place of transition. And even when it comes to ministry, God will be very detailed on where you need to go and what ministry you need to be a part of, because he will consider that ministry to him to be sacred. Um, I was telling a person in a coaching call, like even if we go to a wrong ministry, it can cause us to be outside of God's will, right? And this scripture confirmed that we have to do things detail by detail because God is very detailed. God will choose the place of worship for us. God will choose, um, how we should worship him, because God was even very strategic, y'all, on how they should even do animal sacrifices in Deuteronomy chapter 12. So go back and read that. I know we don't do animal sacrifices anymore. Um, but things to do and things not to do. It also taught in this particular passage what I was talking about years ago, where pagan people that do witchcraft, how they sacrifice their children to their gods, not our God, not the big G God, but their little G gods, right? How the pagans sacrifice their own children to their gods. And I'm gonna read it. It's verse 31, chapter 12, verse 31. You must not worship the Lord your God the way the other nations worship their gods, for they perform for they perform for their gods every detestable act the Lord hates. They even burn their sons and daughters as sacrifices to their gods. Y'all, that still happened today. That's why during certain seasons a lot of children go missing, because they use the children as sacrifices, all right, as burnt offerings. But God is very, very detailed in this hour about what he wants his children to do, even when it comes to ministry. Like I told you guys before, God says switching up positions. Some of us are in transition to where God is going to actually send you to a new ministry, and follow his instructions, because God's children, we can't be involved in any and everything. We can't, even if we go to a ministry that looks fine, but we haven't consulted God about that particular ministry, we can still be outside of the will of God and out of disobedience to God, because that's not where we, as children of God, are supposed to be. So seek God for his instructions, for clarity. But like I said, God is very, very detailed. And if he's very detailed in the Bible, when he was talking to the Israelites, he would be very detailed with you. You just have to build that relationship with him so he can be very, very detailed with you when it comes to certain things about how he wants you to move, the places you need to worship in, your business ideas, all that stuff. Like, God will give you detail by detail, but you have to be obedient, and you have to be willing to listen. I'm running into a lot of people that they think they know everything and they don't listen. And listening requires you to get somewhere and be quiet. And a lot of people right now, they just want to do stuff in their own will and their own strength, and they're not listening, and they're trying to figure out why they keep hitting a brick wall. Well, you don't listen. You have to get to a place of surrendering. You have to get to a place of submission, and you have to get to a place where you can be quiet and listen. All right. And this also confirms too that God is about to allow his children to enter into a place of rest. I know when I had talked a couple of messages before about God is calling you to rest, or calling his children to rest, you are about to enter into the promised land, entering into a place of rest where your enemies will no longer be able to access you, where your enemies will no longer be able to torment you. You are going to enter into a place of rest. But when you enter into this place of rest, into this place where God is calling you to, you have to be obedient to every detail that he's giving you, every detail of the instruction that he is giving you. Okay, so all right, you guys, I love you all. I pray that you have an amazing day. Again, seek God, ask him for details, ask him for wisdom, and follow those instructions to the T. Dot every I and cross every T. All right, you guys, I love you, and I pray that you all have an amazing day, and I will chat with you all later.